Hello everyone and welcome back to Prestige Reef. It is day 9 of my 30-day vlog series, and unfortunately I have to start today with some bad news. The reason for that is because one of the fish isn't doing very well. Now the footage you're about to see, this is obviously filmed afterwards, but the footage you're about to see sort of cuts in halfway through the action. And the reason for that is because as a YouTuber, you have to be in the mood to film. And when something's going wrong, it doesn't make you feel good, which means you don't feel like filming. So just to fill you in, basically, the Flame Angel hasn't been doing very well for a couple of days now. I'm no longer comfortable with him being in the main display tank. I'm not entirely sure. In the footage, I suggest that it's potentially flukes. When I did a freshwater dip on him, nothing came off, and that's usually when you can see flukes. I have my suspicions that it's the long-term exposure to copper which has caused him to have an issue, but I can't say for sure. Now I know that Flame Angels are one of the more sensitive fish when it comes to copper, but I monitored the copper level very closely, and every day he was swimming around active and eating. So I assumed that it wasn't having a detrimental effect on him. However, in hindsight, there is a possibility that it was having a detrimental effect to him, it just has a delayed response. Now I don't know, I'm relatively new to quarantining fish. I've only done it a handful of times. I've quarantined probably 8-9 fish now. I'm going to be doing some research today to see what the long-term effects are of copper on a fish, just so that I may be able to identify something earlier on. But as I said, in quarantine he was completely fine. Now originally I was going to take a day off filming today because these videos are filmed in advance and I've given myself little breaks in between. But Rachel said to me, why aren't you filming this? This is part of the process, which is why the footage cuts in halfway through. Anyway, let's begin. Now this is what I meant yesterday when I said sometimes we need to do what is right for the fish, even if it's not the thing that's the easiest thing for the fish. Now obviously this Flame Angel hasn't eaten for a few days, and you can see that he's starting to get too thin. There's a possibility that he might have flukes. Now, although he was treated for flukes originally, it was the very, very first treatment he ever got, before he got obviously the copper and the Metroplex. For whatever reason, his symptoms are of flukes. He has no appetite, he's not eating, he's yawning. Now my plan is to take him out, give him a freshwater dip just to relieve him immediately of some of those flukes. And then just for the rest of the evening, I will put him down into this compartment here of the sump, because there's nothing mechanical in there that's running and he can't get over to this part of the sump. And the reason for that is I don't want to put him back into the quarantine tank unless 100% necessary. Quarantine, if I'm honest, is potentially what has got him to this stage as it is. Although I'm still unsure how he can go from being 100% completely fine, the best fish that gets through quarantine, into the state that he's in now. As I said, he's declining pretty rapidly. I am unsure at this moment if he will survive. As I said, he hasn't eaten anything, and about a minute ago he just ate a piece of nori in the net, which is actually a good sign because it shows that there's still some fight left in him. He's also more than happy to display and make himself look bigger as a sign of essentially aggression with regards to the other fish. So it's not like he is like completely done for, but now is the time that I need to intervene. And this is what I mean. We sometimes need to do the hard thing, not what the easy thing is. Unfortunately, they can't help themselves, and it's our responsibility to look after them. Although some people will think they're just fish and you'll just get another one, that is not how I feel. And it isn't how you should feel either. I've spent hours trying to catch this fish. So it's both today and in previous days. It just so happened that today he seemed to have like slowed down a little bit. And when I took the rocks apart, I was able to herd him into a corner and grab him. Right now, some of you will probably be thinking, why are you filming him rather than treating him? And the reason I'm waiting is because I'm currently waiting for the freshwater dip to be warm enough to put him in. Now, I do have Pro. The reason I'm putting him in the sump is because I don't want to expose him to too much too quickly. So, as I said, I'm going to start with the freshwater dip. I will put him in the sump, see how he is tomorrow, see if there's any improvement at all. No improvement, he'll be going into Pro. which is obviously harsher on the fish and for a longer period of time. I am not an expert when it comes to this, so to some extent, I'm only doing what I've read online, but the best way to give them immediate relief is to put them into fresh water. Now you can see there's pretty much exactly the same response as yesterday's video. If anything, he's actually responding better than some of the fish from yesterday because he's not even lied down, which is obviously what they usually do at first. So I didn't plan to give you 2 freshwater dips 2 days in a row. Right now this is about an hour after the freshwater dip, so he has made it this far and he's actually already started eating stuff off the rocks down there. Now there's a couple of reasons which I put him down here. Firstly, there is lots and lots of microfauna down there for him to eat. I have put some food in there as well for him, and I'll add some live food in a minute. But the other reason is there's no flow. So obviously a fish that is thin or struggling doesn't need to have lots of flow. The more flow they have to fight against, the more energy they exert. Now I'd already turned the majority of the flow off in the main display tank for this reason. So usually they're on at about 100%, or 2 of them are on 100% and the other one is on, I think, 30 or 40%. But I decided to turn them down to 10% for 2 reasons. Firstly, because of the flame angel, but also because of the powder blue tang. So the powder blue tang has obviously been let out now, but it is slightly skinnier than I'd like it to be. However, it is being fed all day, every day, just to give it that boost. Now it's interesting that of the 5 fish that have come out of quarantine, 3 of them are doing well and 2 of them are having issues with some sort of digestive issues where they can eat lots but aren't putting on weight. So I will keep a close eye on these 2. You can see that he has a really fat belly, but it's like he's got no fat on his bones. Now there has been minimal aggression from the tang since I let the powder blue out. You can see that the powder blue has these stress bands, or I'm not sure if they're stress bands or if they're sort of a territorial display. Although the powder blue is actually smaller than the other 2 fish, it's definitely not the lowest on the hierarchy. That 100% would be the convict tang, because the powder blue, after a day, has started to show its dominance over it, which is interesting because the convict tang is actually in far better condition than the powdered blue is at the moment. However, having said that, obviously the convict tang has had a few extra days in this tank, whereas the powdered blue is in the acclimation box. So maybe that's made a difference. But you can see there are these little minor chases, but no serious, like I've seen tangs be really vicious towards each other, and that just doesn't seem to be the case. And it's probably because obviously 2 of these are acanthurus tangs and they both went in at the same time and they're new, and one of them is a zebrasoma, which is obviously the yellow tang. Now the other thing to mention, you can see that after the water change, this is 2 days later, the tank is still pretty clear. It doesn't look like this to the eye, it's actually the orange filter which is creating that sort of hazy look. So far so good. I have put the chemiclean in, which might be obviously what has got rid of the cyano. So far the dinoflagellates haven't come back with a vengeance just yet, but don't you worry, I have a feeling 100% be making a return at some point, because those are not the sort of things that just go away on their own. You don't see the wrasse very often just because it usually darts around so quickly that it's not as photogenic as the king eye is. I literally cannot wait to get the other 2 angels in here. Right, that's it for today, guys. I had no idea that that was the video I was going to film today, but as I said at the very beginning, I am going to be showing you all of the good and all of the bad, and sometimes it can be more bad than good. But tomorrow, I should have an exciting video for you because we're going to have a very special guest. Reef Dork is coming. So, you know, he's like YouTube royalty. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. Please feel free to comment below if you have any questions. If you did enjoy it, why not click that like and subscribe button? It really helps me out at the moment. Have a good day, have a good evening, and I will see you tomorrow.